speeches don't have to be boring, do they? Speeches don't have to be boring at all. So given that the Queen's had to do one, I thought it would be good to actually find out now how it is done from the experts. Now, an expert in speechwriting is Lawrence Bernstein, Director of Great Speechwriting. Hello, Lawrence.
Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon to you. So look, the Queen's had to do one, right? Many people have to do them, weddings, etc., etc., etc. What makes a great speech, Lawrence?
A great speech is relevant to the audience. It is clear what the speaker's actually talking about.
Yep.
And it's got a little sprinkle of magic in it, just to give you something that you're not expecting.
A little sprinkle of magic. So,
I hate to say it, but I think they're probably not the key ingredients of the Queen's speech today.
That's the thing. It's quite dull, isn't it? Right? We sit through it. We know what it's for. It's tradition. You know, the state opening of Parliament. We know all of that. But in the end, Lawrence, wouldn't you like a crack at it?
Well, it's a weird one, because generally the person giving a speech is responsible for their own content. So if you stood up at a wedding this weekend and gave the speech of your life, then people afterwards will say John gave a great speech or John gave a bad speech. As we all know, the poor old Queen is dragged along in 90-degree heat to read out a very, very dull list that is given to her on a very special parchment, and one that she has to read whether she agrees with it or not. So it's a bit of a weird one. You're not going to be able to put the Queen in a position where she can be anything other than incredibly professional and dutiful, as we all know she is.
But given that she's the Queen and can do what she likes, I mean, she could literally say, I'm not reading this, it's rubbish, right? And she could just sprinkle the magic you were talking about, Lawrence, across that speech, couldn't she? She could just insert her own words into it, really. She could do what she likes. It's live. They can't stop her.
We could have a minor constitutional crisis on our hands, but it might be worth it. Bearing in mind some of the stuff that's in there today, you never know. It might be worth it.
So in terms of writing speech, so people listening to this will go, all right, so the Queen does a speech, we know that. But in terms of people get nervous about this kind of stuff, don't they? And weddings and speaking in front of people. What's your advice for that? How do people there might be people, as you rightly say, getting married this weekend, and there's a best man, there's a groom and a bride, and everyone's got to do speeches at this wedding. What's your advice to them? What would they have to do?
Well, first things first is people, yes, tend to get nervous, but the key is working out why they're nervous. And so what we'll often get on a Tuesday or a Wednesday of the week of a wedding, for example, they'll call up and say, I'm really worried. Can you give me some tips for delivering my speech better?
Yeah.
And the key issue to address at that point is, are they actually scared of standing up in public, or do they actually have a complete lack of confidence in the content itself?
Yes.
And that is what's making them nervous. So we have to split. I think it's something that when you're writing your own speech, often people don't quite understand. It's so simple, but if you put content as a completely different issue to resolve than the delivery of it, then one tends to solve the other. And when you've got someone who's really proud of the content, it's written in a way that's easy to deliver, it's light and it's fun, and it gets, again, I come back to that word relevance. It's quite a boring word, but what it actually means is writing for the audience rather than necessarily writing for yourself. And that tends to be what takes that sort of weight off the shoulders. Most of our clients in the end actually quite look forward to something they were dreading.
Yeah, because it's about, you're absolutely right. If you've got confidence in it. I mean, start with a joke, Lawrence. Always, right? The Queen should have rocked up.
Yeah, the Queen obviously always starts.
She's not even, they've de-pomped it, haven't they, today, if you saw it. Right, and normally it's a lot more, the ceremony's a lot more pompous, but they've de-pomped it due to, elections and it all being ballsed up by Theresa May. But essentially, she was wearing an ascot costume. I mean, she was wearing a blue hat with yellow flowers on it, which Sophie, by the way, pointed out. What were they saying on social media today?
Well, people are saying that symbolised her support for the EU.
The Queen's wearing a blue hat with yellow flowers, and it's support for the EU. But start with a joke. Isn't that true, Lawrence?
You know what? It's very easy. It's very easy to say yes, because obviously, if you are great and you're confident and you start with a great joke, brilliant, you're rolling. The problem is that a lot of people, the sort of people you're referring to, who quite understandably are worried, the thing that actually they fear most is ballsing up a punchline and having that horrible tumbleweed moment where the room goes quiet and you can see people looking at each other, and it's your biggest nightmare.
I mean, it happens to me a lot, Lawrence, if I'm honest, but yes.
Yeah, it's happened to us all. And as a result, funny enough, I'm quite a big believer that if we refer quite a lot to something that tongue-in-cheek, we call a sincerity sandwich. So if you start incredibly sincere and thoughtful and grateful, and you finish incredibly sincere, thoughtful and grateful, you will clearly get an audience on your side very, very quickly. You don't have to go on and drone on, but by showing that you're there for a reason, by showing you actually care about what you're doing, you will get the vast majority of the people in that room on your side.
Yeah.
And when you then make that very quick, seamless turn into humour, particularly if they're not expecting it, then suddenly you know they're on your side. And you've also got yourself into a bit of a flow. And I think for a nervy, great for somebody as polished and experienced as yourself, clearly we could push things a bit further. But we would say starting with a big joke can be a risk for a nervous wedding speaker, for example.
Yeah, no, this is good advice. And I think the Queen's been listening to, because I was watching it, there were no laughs at all. I mean, if I'm honest.
No, it's odd, isn't it? She didn't, nothing.
She played it very straight. She could have made a little joke about Prince Philip being in hospital. She didn't even go for it. She didn't go there. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff she could have done. Listen, Lawrence, thank you very much. I know the Queen listens to this, by the way. She's a big fan of the show, so she'll be listening to your advice and taking that on board for next time. But Lawrence Bernstein, there, director of great speech writing. Well, Lawrence, where would we find Lawrence? I think he's gone. Is he gone? He's gone.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're still there. Good. I was going to say, where would we find you if someone wants your advice? Where would we find you, Lawrence?
You would find us in London. We've got a website. Great Speech Writing, very self-deprecating, .co.uk. So it's and speech with a double E, which is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they get in touch with us.
All right,
but we're available for this weekend, but only just. So you better call quickly.
All right, Lawrence, listen, thank you very much indeed. There you go. That's good advice, I think, for all of us.